お前に倒される海賊なんていねえよ。信念のないお前なんかに俺は負けねえ。
Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 897, our first episode, Back to Wano. This episode marks the first episode in which director Satoshi Ito is working with supervisors Hirotaka Ito and Eisaku Inoue, as well as the first Wano episode for all three of them. Satoshi Ito is a young episode director on the anime who started with episode 661, and has since become one of the biggest rising talents on the anime. Learning from his time as an assistant episode director on Nagamine's HeartCatch PreCure, Ito's boards feature various wide shots in order to add a sense of scale and atmosphere to his episodes. This helps show you how tense or relaxed certain situations can be for our characters, and that helps to create an effective atmosphere for any given episode. Couple that with his usage of several first-person shots that show you what a character is feeling or doing, and Ito's boards create an overall tone for his episodes that really help put you into the character's shoes. Now he finally gets his first chance to work with fellow young staff member and a One Piece legend in Hirotaka Ito and Eisaku Inoue. Inoue almost needs no introduction. He first started working on the TV anime with episode 2 and was one of the best supervisors on the anime, displaying art that was damn near 100% close to Oda's own art in the manga. For every era of the anime, Inoue would decide to ignore the character designs in favor of replicating whatever Oda's own art style was at the time, which resulted in some of the most visually interesting episodes that the anime has ever seen. However, Inoue would lose that manga-accurate style that fans loved when Kazuya Hisada took over as character designer. In an attempt to adjust to Hisada's designs, Inoue lost his grip on his trademark style. After taking a break from the anime midway through Fishman Island, he returned in the Whole Cake Island arc as a co-supervisor, and while a good amount of these Hisada-like traits that hampered how he drew the characters were still present, you could tell that he was referencing his older work and was making an effort to really make a real return to form, an effort that was almost echoed by the style of his fellow co-supervisor Hirotaka Ito. Ito was a young animator who for a while was a key animator on the anime, before becoming a supervisor in the Whole Cake Island arc starting with episode 793. However, his episodes would end up being fairly rushed due to the schedule of early Whole Cake Island, and that coupled with his own speed as a supervisor being fairly slow, led to them making him and Inoue a supervising duo with episode 813 onwards. Ito's style is a bit of an interesting amalgamation of current chief supervisor Ichikawa's work and the work of Inoue from the past. The overall look of his characters more closely resembles the type of art that we see from Ichikawa, but there's grit and an overall edge to Ito's work that's reminiscent of his fellow supervisors' past work. Couple that together with his trademark dog noses, and you've got a very interesting new yet nostalgic style. With a young director being paired with two visually interesting supervisors like this, you'd think that the episode would turn out to be a memorable one. Let's see if that's the case here. This episode covers the last 12 pages of chapter 912, and for the most part is fairly accurate with adapting the original chapter. There's some little extensions to it, like Luffy starting his conversation with Hitetsu and seeing the police force of Wano chase after Zoro, but it's mostly one for one outside of that. The only other actual change is that we get to see Zoro's fight with Kaido's men from his perspective, rather than from Luffy's faraway perspective as it was originally, which goes hand in hand with how the anime has been expanding Zoro's early escapades into Wano. It extends the events a bit when it needs to, and even finds a way to get you more invested in Zoro's fight than the original manga did. But it's an episode that's absolutely aware of how solid its source material is, so they don't really go out of their way to change it up much all in all. If there's anything that Ito really brought to this episode, it was his trademark sense of atmosphere. Through wide shots of pretty much any locale and character interaction, Ito's board helps sell you on the mysterious yet exciting atmosphere that the episode wants to give off. Even if it's just a simple conversation with Luffy and Tama about Ace, the board is absolutely oozing with atmosphere at every corner, continuing that trend of making Wano feel truly unlike anything before it. The jungles of Wano continue to feel beautiful and mysterious, and the wasteland feels as drab and open-ended as its name suggests, giving each locale its own feel. Even when it decides to be a bit creative and give a cool visual explanation for stuff like the wasteland or Luffy grabbing the cursed sword, it never really interrupts that mysterious atmosphere that's present throughout the whole episode. There's a nice sense of unclearness in this episode, as we don't even necessarily know where Luffy is going to end up, and this storyboard's sense of scale 100% sells that mood. The compositing for this episode only helps bring it all together, with stuff like scattered lighting and little added effects for Zoro's attacks being incredibly helpful in making the episode feel alive. It's a board that takes even the slightest opportunity to really set the mood for the episode, and it shows just how perfect a director like Satoshi Ito is for a country like Wano. Despite the episode overall being fairly well animated and having a ton of small character acting among other things, it doesn't really have any Sakuga-worthy scenes. The only scene that I could really consider that would be Zoro cutting up Kaido's men, animated by the supervisor of the B half of the episode, Hirotaka Ito. It doesn't have tons of insane movement as it sells itself on cool and stylish poses and effects, but it depicts the ferocity of Zoro's slices very well and is a pretty cool piece of animation to look at despite its simplicity. It's really the supervisor's art that's the main highlight here, with Inoue's A part displaying very Matsuda looking art from him with wide faces and some of that usual touch, and Ito's B part which had that cool yet nostalgic style that doesn't seem to have changed much with the advent of Matsuda's designs. Inoue's Ace did look a tad bit off in some shots, likely due to it being a long time since he's drawn him, but the episode is still very pretty art-wise. Couple that together with corrections from Ichikawa and some more non-credited corrections from Matsuda on Zoro, and you get an overall polished episode that's mainly set on bringing you striking art more than anything. It doesn't really have any off-the-wall Sakuga, and it honestly didn't need any as a primarily story-based episode, and that kind of leads into my final thoughts on the episode. The episode itself isn't the most insane episode in the grand scheme of things, despite housing a reunion between Luffy and Zoro, but I think it really sets a nice average for Wano episodes going forward. We're going to for sure have quite a few more mainly story-based episodes like this as this arc goes on, and it's important to know that it's fine to have an episode that doesn't really have much in the way of extreme animation, as long as they manage to sell the contents of the story through a great storyboard, direction, and polished art. It's very unrealistic for a weekly long-running series like One Piece to have insane Sakuga every week just due to the nature of its production, so I think instead of fans complaining about it not having some absolutely jaw-dropping animation every week, they should welcome these types of conservative episodes that still get the job done and work as a buffer for a more Sakuga-oriented episode later on. The main question is though, will next week's episode from Yasunori Koyama and Masahiro Shimanuki be another one of these episodes? The board and composite looks as good as ever, and Masahiro Shimanuki's art isn't looking too off from the looks of it, but it'll be interesting to see if it takes a more conservative approach like this week, or if it has a few tricks up its sleeve. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and bless Nagamine for bringing back the observation hockey eye trails, man.